came up. It came up as an error message came up in a box, but then when I tried to do it again, because I was thinking maybe I did something wrong, I tried first time in the old Power App. Then that was when I got that error message. So I went to the latest Power App to do it, and I still got the same error message. But then it was telling me that that business unit is already existing, has been created already. So, but I couldn't find it in the active business units. I don't know if that makes sense.
I think we lost Alex, actually. Yeah, I think he's gone, so we have to.
Apologies, someone keeps muting me. I don't know who that is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So what's the name of the business unit you're trying to create, please?
You can share your screen now anyway, so I think you're able to.
Okay. So I tried to create Omega. It says Omega Hey. Can
we create it?
We can try again.
Amazing stuff. Wonderful.
Okay, so it's back to
nice work.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, not a problem. It's always good to ask questions. So it's a good thing it didn't work and now we tried to work. So it's always good to do that.
Okay.
Perfect. So in today's session, we're gonna look at some automation. So in this context here, we need to create contacts from social media. So we need to create these contacts as leads into our Dynamics platform. So what we gonna do here, can I have some yeses on people who use Twitter here? Anyone who uses Twitter here? No one? Okay. Yeah, if no one uses Twitter, that's fine. I can demonstrate it from my side. So let me just share my screen. If you guys can let me know when you can see my screen, right? Can you guys see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great stuff. So what we are doing here, we're gonna go to something for some of our colleagues who've been doing development. We've been going to make.powerapps.com. Today we are going to go to make.powerautomate.com. So what we are going to do at this point here, we are going to do something like this. So this is Power Automate. And what you can see here, you will see two different environments, a D365, the default environment. Every single organization you go into, they will always have a directory called this name default. That environment is mainly designed for some people called citizen developers. These are non-tech people. These are people who are just learning as they go. They're creating productivity tools for themselves. So what that means, if you are on a project and you've been given this task, whether you are a BA and you're doing a proof of concept, whether you're a tester coming to look at the automation, whether you're a developer, you're trying to develop these things, you need to make sure you select the correct environment. If you create it here, it will work, but it won't comply with your security obligations in your organizations. It might also be blocked by some data prevention policies. So what we have here is automated. We're talking about automation. So we're going to create something here. So what you have automated cloud flows. I'm not going to tell you what they do because it says it underneath. If you guys can, I'm sure you can see it. We also have instant cloud flow, scheduled flows, desktop flows, and also process mining. So in our case today, we're going to focus on the automated one. So once I click this item here, the first thing it does ask me, it asks me for a name. So in this name here, we're gonna put Blue Sky. Blue Sky lead generation. So lead gen, we'll leave it like this. Then at this point here, we're going to select our trigger. So our triggers can be from all different sources. It can be from SharePoint, it can be from OneDrive, it can be from Excel, it can be from Outlook, it can be from multiple sources. There's loads and loads of sources you can use. You can even use SQL as a source, as a trigger. You can even use Dynamics as a trigger. So we'll revisit Dynamics after. In this case, we're gonna start with what we said, social media. We're going to look at Twitter. So when a new tweet is posted, and we select this, and then we select create. So what you're gonna see here is a screen. So what you can see here, what you don't see is the connection. So already there's a connection to my Twitter account here. So I can basically add a new connection if I need to add a new connection. Best practice, you need to rename this to something which is unique to what you're doing. So in here, when a new tweet is posted, let's put regarding Blue Sky. So I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna copy it, and I'm going to paste it in the chat window. So everyone, those who use Twitter, just remember that. So at this point, we are here. So I'm going to close this. What you can see here, we also have an automated checker, which is referred to as a flow checker. It looks at our steps to see if there's any issues. You can always open it at any point. And in here, it's asking us the text we want it to search for on Twitter. So at this point here, I'm going to put the text in here. So this is the text we're expecting. So we're going to actually use a hashtag. So that's the hashtag there. So let me give this to everyone. So you can have multiple hashtags in here. At this starting point, we're going to start with one. So we have our hashtag in here. We're going to select new step. So the new step is now the action what we want to do. So can anyone tell me where does Dynamics store its data? What is the data source for Dynamics 365?
Is it Dataverse?
Yeah, awesome stuff. Thank you so much. That's awesome stuff. That's right. So our action is based on Microsoft Dataverse here. So can you see you have quite a few actions here? So you can talk about actions. You can see different actions here. And like I mentioned earlier, you can also use Dataverse Dynamics 365 as a trigger. The triggers in here for Dynamics are in here. So we're going to come back and look at this on a separate floor. So at this point, I'm going to select actions. And then we need to create a new lead in Dynamics 365 with Dataverse. So from what you can see on the screen here, I'm going to scroll down. I just want someone to kind of have a shout out of what they think we should be selecting at this point. Everyone can see the list, right? Any ideas from anyone from this list here? The question is, what is a field in Dynamics 365? Anyone understands what a field is in Dynamics 365?
Table?
Okay, very close. A field in Dynamics is a column. Yeah, we all agree, right? It's a column. So we spoke about a lead. So a lead can be, for example, in here, someone called Deji Emmanuel can be our lead in Dynamics 365. A lead can be Alex Chanduana in Dynamics. A lead can be someone called Femi in Dynamics 365. So going to the example here, when we say Femi is a lead in Dynamics 365, what is that? That is not a table, but can anyone think what is that?
A contact?
No, a lead and a contact, they are two different things. So does anyone still remember the slide I shared on week 2, which had the old names and the new names of Dataverse? Does anyone still has that? If you do not have it, please feel free to say you don't have it. Then I can share it with you, with the team. Then you can also have it for your reference point. Do you guys still have it? Anyone?
I don't have it, sorry.
Okay, great. Anyone else has it?
No, we don't have it.
Okay, great. You don't have it? Okay, perfect. So I will share that with the team. Apart from sharing with the team, what I can do, I can actually get it for you here. So while I'm getting these names for you, can someone think Femi, Alex, Deji, these are leads in Dynamics 365. What are they? They're not contacts. We're talking about the lead table here. So what are they?
No.
We're talking about people's names, right?
It's the
person who just spoke just now, can you come back again, please?
name is a column. Is it like a description in a column?
What you said just before that is the correct answer.
Oh, okay.
There's something you said just before that is the answer. If anyone had that, if you can shout out, what's that?
Roles.
Perfect. Thank you so much. That's the answer. So on this naming stuff I was talking about, that's where I was talking about a record is not called a record anymore. They are called rows. So let me just get this here. I'll just send it to you in the chat window. It should be here. So a field is a column. This one here. So while I'm looking at this, we've established the named people. These are rows in Dynamics. So we spoke about we need to create a lead in Dynamics. So what would you think we should be creating here?
So add a new row.
Yeah. Who said that?
I did.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So that's what we need to do here. So we need to add a new row. So now you can see we have a step now. So we have this step here at this point, and we now have the option to choose a table. So I'm going to open the list here. You're going to see the list will come up. What table shall we be selecting on this list here?
Account leads.
Account leads, okay. That's a good starting point. I think I should have been fair with you guys by scrolling down, but the list is very long. We'll spend all night here. So when we are getting people who might be interested or we think they're interested, what are those people called, or what are those roles called?
Contact.
That.
A contact? Okay, who said contact?
I did.
Okay, great. So if we say a contact, would you be able to tell us what you think a lead will be? Anyone? What's the difference between a lead and a contact? This is for everyone. Anyone? Lead and contact?
A lead will be an opportunity.
Okay, a lead will be an opportunity. What would be the opportunity and the lead? What's the difference? That's for everyone as well. It's not just for one person now. Lead and opportunity, what's the difference?
So I think an opportunity will be linked to an account.
Okay, an opportunity by linked to an account. That's wonderful. That's great. And what's a lead? So we spoke about a lead, or we spoke about the sales pipeline. We get a lead gets qualified or it gets disqualified. You convert a lead. When you qualify it, it creates a contact. It creates an account record. From there, you then go into an opportunity pipeline. So the first step here, we said at the beginning, we need to create a lead when we're discussing the setup at this point. So if you look in this list here, we're gonna see there's a table called lead. If I haven't gone past it already, it's up here, leads. So there it is. So we have select our table. We have leads. And then now it's asking us for some information. So in here, we're going to select this. So at this point here, you can see I can type things. This is not how we're going to do it. We're going to use something called dynamic content. So we're going to look at the screen name of the user on Twitter, and we are going to take a bit more information from their tweet, exactly what they've tweeted. And we put that in there. And on Twitter, when someone tweets, we don't normally get their email address. So what then happens is, in some cases, people might want to add additional information. So let me bring it back here. Yeah, just looking to extend that. So some people might say, okay, they want to see the retweet count. So what that means, what you are seeing here, these are the columns on the lead form in Dynamics 365. So these here, they all exist on the form. So it's a long list. So these are the things which exist on your lead form. So at this point here, we are going to take these attributes, username, tweet text. Let's pick up something for the first name. So we got name of the user. So we'll put name in here. So at this point, we are going to select save. If you can see, it's saving here. So what we need to do now is to test our flow. If you can see here, your flow is ready to go. We recommend you test it, right? So the next thing here is to select test here. So for those of you on Twitter, can I please ask you to go and write a message on your Twitter accounts? And after that, can you just put the hashtag, which is in the chat window, which is hashtag blue sky? Do we have any volunteers to do that, please? Any volunteers, please?
Yes,
Okay, yes, please. Thank you, Sam.
done.
Is there anyone else? So we have at least 2 people. So we're going to trigger the test here. And then once it goes to search on Twitter, it will pick up that hashtag. So now there it is. And it's done something already. You can see in here it's picked up something. We can simply open it at this point here and look at the attributes. So you can see this is the name of the person here. Do we have a Kevin here? Do we have someone called Kevin with this name here? Okay, we'll find out. We'll go into Dynamics and we'll find out. So here is the person who's put the hashtag, and this is what they put in here. My hashtag blue sky profile. Come follow me if you're testing like me on social. So let's go and see what this person put. And if you can see, this is what they put there. So let's go into Dynamics 365 and let's go and look at the leads created. And we can go into this area here and we can select this account, and then let's get MFA. And then in here, we don't have leads. Did we remove leads last week? Does anyone still remember? I don't. If we don't remember, that's fine. We can get it here. Because I think we removed leads. We'll do something different as well to fix that. We removed leads and we put Omega leads in there because we created a separate table. So in here, if I go into leads, so if you can see, it's right at the top, this one here. You can basically open it. And then you understand exactly what this person is saying. So if you have Twitter and you haven't tweeted this, you can go search this person here. You will see this on their Twitter feed. So what then happens at this point here, you kind of look at this information, and what we have done here, we have put this information here in a free text field. So under normal circumstance, you basically expand this. So let me go to my Twitter account. I'm going to open it. I just want to show you that tweet as well on Twitter. So this is my Twitter account, and we are going to look for this colleague of ours here. Okay. And then let's look at tweets and replies. There is a tweet from the person. So this here, for me, it looks like it's a bot. This is a bot, which is just being used to send these messages. So our colleague who said they were doing a tweet, did you manage to do it in the end?
Yes.
You done it, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. We're able, let's have a look in here. What time did you do it?
5 minutes ago or so.
Okay, let's have a look. We can always search by the hashtag. Then we go into latest. So we have this one here, hashtag blue sky. And can anyone guess why this hasn't been picked up? You can see this tweet here. We can also this one here. Can anyone have a guess why these haven't been picked up?
Is there a comment?
Just capital letter.
Yeah, wonderful
Capital
stuff. We're
letter.
together. So that's brilliant. So what we can do to fix such issues, we can go in here and separate it here. And then we can put another hashtag here. And then we put blue sky. And then we can save this one. And then we're gonna test it automatically with a recently used trigger. Succeeded, yes, then let's test it. So now let's have a look to see what happens. It's run successfully. It's picked up the same name. And what you can see here, the search text hasn't updated in here. So that is the search text. So what we need to go back and do is we need to select edit. We put our text in here and we're going to select a separate one. So we're going to do manual and we're going to do it this way here. It's running very quick. There we are. It's picked it up in here. Let's also go to see our runs. We should have 2 of them. So we have this one here. We also have this one here. So this one here is the first one we had. Let's see the second one here. Yep, and this is a different one. So if you can see these records here, we can simply go into Dynamics 365 and you can see the records created here. So here we rerun the flow again, it's created a record. So at this point here, we want to avoid this from happening. It's the same tweet. I'm going to show you the trick, exactly what it is. So in here, we have our records which have been created. So from a sales team point of view, for example, this could be Blue Sky. They're seeing their students, they're tweeting how happy they are with the organization, the amazing information they've learned. So what Blue Sky can do at this point, they have these records in here. They can then reach out to yourself if you've done that tweet and either say, okay, oh, can you tell us a bit more of what you liked about the school? If you are a new student, they can say to you, okay, oh, great, we've seen you have interest in us. This is what we do. So in some cases, it's not about when a tweet is done. It's also about, for example, if someone goes and comments on the Twitter account for Blue Sky, you can capture that information. It gets created as a lead. We don't really want to create them as contacts because we need to understand the information beforehand. At the same time, what you can also do to make it even more clever, you can then add an additional column in here to add the lead source. We need to know our leads are coming from Twitter. We need to know our leads are coming from Facebook. We need to know our leads are coming from the Blue Sky website. So you can basically build it that way. When you then go through your pipeline, eventually from a reporting capability, you kind of break it down a bit more and kind of understand, okay, this is working well, this is not quite working well, and you know where to invest most of your energies from. So we spoke about Twitter into Dynamics. We spoke about the hashtag from Twitter into Dynamics, creating the records. We have seen the records being created here. The next thing we want to do here is vice versa. Something happens on this row here in Dynamics 365. We want to send an email out. We want to send an email notifying the team to say, oh, someone has updated this record. Or if someone has created a record, we want to get that information. So what will happen now is we have created this flow here. This flow here, if you can see, it is on. If I leave it on, if anyone happens to go on Twitter, they use that hashtag, it will keep creating the records in Dynamics. So we don't really want to do that. We're not going to delete this. We simply just turn it off at this point. Once we turn it off, it doesn't run. So again, this use case here, you can either decide to switch it on and switch it off. What you need to remember, if it doesn't run for 28 days, it goes into a state which is called suspended state. And once it's in a suspended state, you then need to reopen it and do some configuration to get it going again. From a business point of view, you then need to build an additional flow on top, which goes and look at the running history of this flow. If it's older than 25 days, to be on the safe side, trigger it, run it. Even though there's no data, just run it so there's a run history to it. So this 28 days here is important. And at the same time, you can see exactly what it says here. This is to do with GDPR. Yeah. And they even say, if you need to capture for longer, you need to basically come in here and put it in Excel. The question you should always be asking yourself is, what is the benefit of keeping these run histories? So you should never be put in a position where someone tells you go and do it. It's things we should not be doing anyway from the beginning. So that's the first part here. We have now switched it off. And if you can see our flow check at this point here, if I click on here, it's giving us a warning, the flow is off. It won't trigger until you turn it on. Turn this flow. It actually tells you how to fix it. So this is why it's important for you to make sure you visualize things and see what it is. You also have things like repair tips here. And at the same time, if you are creating these things for an organization, do not create them and just be the owner alone. You need to create a service account. What a service account is, it's an account which is used to run things in the background in Dynamics. It's an account which should not be used to log in. So it's important we remember that. So we can go back in here. So at this point here, this is a flow. I can simply go and do something like this here. And I can basically share with a Blue Sky user. So who would like me to share this with them? Anyone? I'll select number 15. So there we are. That account now has access to this flow. And I'll show you exactly what will happen now. So if I go back in here, and you can see now there is 2 owners here. And if I go into my flows, you see I don't have any. It now appears under here. There it is. And if you can see here, it's switched off. So going forward, we're going to create the next one. What you can see, I can create from this point here. I can create from here. Before I create the next one, what I also want you to be aware of, if you're not so sure, you've got so many templates here. These templates here allow you to look at a different use case you're looking to use. So it could be things like approvals. So you can see there's so many items here which are already pre-configured for you. All you just need to do is to put your connections exactly where you want the data to go. So there's lots of them. You can simply search at the top in here. You can see things like remote work. These keep continually being added in here. So you can also just use them. You're allowed to use them as well, by the way. It's not just for testing. You can use them at any point. So just always keep in mind. So in our next part now, we are going to say create. So at this point, we're going to create another one. This one is called Blue Sky lead update. And at this point in here, we're going to look for a trigger. Anyone wants to have a go what this trigger will be, please?
Facebook.
Okay, that's a good attempt. Anyone else?
Twitter.
Yep, anyone else? So what we are looking to do at this point here, what we said is we are looking to see if there's any updates have taken place at this point and send an email out, right? That's what we're looking to do. An update on a D365 role. So in this context in here, what is the trigger? Trigger is something which initiates the automation. It's something which says, okay, there you go. The same way for those of you who drive, you have a car key, whether you put the car key in the key area and you start your car, whether you go in the car, then you press that start button, that trigger button is that start button. We are starting our car, right? So in our context here, Dynamics 365, what is the trigger? So there is someone who said the answer here. Let me look at them in the list. I think Bosola, I think it might be yourself who said the answer earlier.
Ah, I've forgotten.
Yeah, that's fine. No worries. Anyone else want to give it a go?
So what was the question? Sorry, maybe I missed that.
So we're looking to look at any updates which takes place from our lead in Dynamics 365, and then we need to send a notification out. So our trigger is Dynamics 365. The question is, what trigger we need to use here? We don't need to scroll down because we know exactly what we're talking about. So what are we using to trigger our flow here? If you remember 2 minutes ago, a hashtag was posted on Twitter. It initiated this automation. In this context here, what is going to trigger our automation?
Contact update.
Okay, good attempt. Just remember, we are using a lead.
Oh, lead update.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so what will be the trigger?
Hashtag blue sky.
Yeah, okay, good attempt. Anyone else? Anyone? Let me just take a picture here and I'll show you guys something and anyone can kind of guess exactly where I'm going with this. Everyone can see this picture here, right? I know it's, please don't say green. I know it's green. But does anyone remember seeing anything like this?
Dataverse.
What's up?
Dataverse.
Wonderful stuff. Thank you. So our trigger is Dataverse. So always remember, whatever rows we create in Dynamics 365, they are stored in Dataverse. They're not stored in Dynamics 365. Dynamics 365 is just the front end. They are stored in Dataverse. Always remember that, please. So at this point here, we then select Dataverse. So if you just type data in here, if you can see straight away, it's kind of giving me one here, verse. So you can see this is green. This one is not green. Can anyone have a guess exactly why they're different? One is green and one is not.
It says legacy. And
Thank you so much for looking at that. Thank you. Yeah, so that's it. It's legacy. You should not be using it because it's basically what it means is getting deprecated. So at this point, we need to look at the one when a row is added, modified, or deleted. We're going to select this one here, and we're going to select create. So at this point, does anyone remember what we said 2 minutes ago? What are we expecting to get a notification from here? What are we expecting to happen?
Update.
Update.
When a lead goes in there to edit and make an update to their details.
Okay, great. That's perfect. That's exactly what we are looking to do. So we go in here. Why I'm asking is this here, change type. And then at this point, we select in here. So if you can see the options here, right? Added or deleted, added or modified or deleted, deleted, modified or deleted. This is the answer to what we said at this point here. Let me go back a step. So it's gonna get rid of it all. It's fine, we'll start again. At this point here, we'll type in the initial name we put earlier, Blue Sky lead update. And we'll just make it better notification. So at this point here, we said Dataverse. So what you can see, this is an individual connector. What Microsoft have done, they've added all these things into one connector. So in here, this is just for a connector, just focusing on deletion. They've basically added everything in here. And what you see is on that change type. So everything, all those connectors you're seeing, they've all been added at this point. So you basically select what you're expecting to happen. So from this list here, from what we said we're looking to achieve, which one would be the appropriate selection, please?
Added or modified.
Added or modified.
Added or modified or deleted.
What's that?
Added or modified or deleted.
Okay. So remember, at this point, we just said we're looking for an update alone for now, right?
Yeah.
So at this point, we just need modified. So we can select all these here, but from our use case we're using at this point, we're going for modified. And at this point, we need to select the table. Which table are we selecting from this long list? I'm not going to scroll down because we are just talking about the table we're focusing on.
Leads table.
Yep, thank you so much. So at this point, need to go down and look at our lead table here, leads. And then you can see now it's asking us for a scope. So for those of you doing homework from Daniel, this is also important for you to understand. So if you're creating a flow to run, if it's an enterprise or an organizational flow, it needs to run in the organization context unless specified to say it needs to run for a specific business unit alone. In this case, we're going to select from an organization context, and then we're going to select save. And what you can see here, you should at least have one trigger and one action. What would you think is missing at this point? Anyone want to guess what's missing at this point? Why we're getting that error message? So just to check, are we still together on what we're trying to do here? Or should I go a step back? Okay, so what we are missing, yeah, go ahead.
This trigger and action needs to be chosen.
Yeah, perfect. So if we have a trigger, we need to do something. it's rare for you to just go and start your car. With our example of a car, you just start your car and you just sit there and do nothing. Normally you start your car, you drive somewhere, you go somewhere. You don't just start your car and spend a good hour just sitting in your car for no reason, unless if you're on your break at work or sometimes. But in most cases, you don't just start your car for no reason, just sit there for nothing. So we need to have an action. So our action at this point in here, we need to send an email. So if you can see, there's an option here, mail. You can also type email and see what you get. You still get mail. So we are going to select send email notification. So if you see V2, V3, these are just the versions of these actions, action connectors. So we are going to select the V3 connector. And here is going to select accept. And at this point here, can I have someone's email address we can test with? If you could just put in the chat window, please.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you. So we're going to use this email address. So we can use multiple email addresses here by using a semicolon. It clearly says it for you here. You don't really need to kind of think about it. A semicolon, a comma, that works. So do we have another person? Another person, if you can kindly put your email address in the chat window, please. Yep, we got, yeah, they're coming in now. Great, thank you. So at this point, we're going to add. Is that at gmail.com, right? This one here.
Yes, the gmail.com.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Then the next one. So no, we have that one already. We need to use this one here. The next one. Okay, great. Anyone else? Yep, perfect. So this point here, we have our email addresses here in this area here. We now need to go into the subject area. So in the subject area, we need to put either the lead type. So we're gonna put the lead unique identifier of the lead which has been updated. And at this point, we're gonna say, hi, this lead has been modified. And then in here, we're going to put dynamic content. So it will always pick up that lead which has been modified. Lead, what are the options do we have here? Yep, we're gonna go for lead. This one here has been modified. Please review. Thanks. So we now have our flow set up at this point. We are going to select save. And it's a good starting point is saving it. Let's see if you get any errors. So at this point, it's asking us to say, test your flow. It will always keep asking you. As much as it's saying, okay, it's ready to go, it's always recommended to test it. So if I select test at this point here, manually, and I'll go and say next. So we always do it manually when you are testing it. Then after that, we'll start running it automatically. So if you see in here, it's running in the background, it's looking for anything, it's kind of looking around. Is there anything? If you stay here, they're still going. I'm going to put an update in here. And I'm going to put this in here. Okay. So I'm going to save this record. And now, while that record is saving, let's look at our flow if it picks up anything. So once it picks up something, it will start telling us the flow is running. So they should have completed. And if you can see now, the flow failed. Can anyone guess why it failed?
Maybe there's a Gmail that is not correct.
Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else can tell us why it failed? You all can tell me, to be honest with you. This is something very, very easy for you all guys to tell me.
Is it
Because
because
the email didn't go anywhere.
Great. Anyone else who can tell us why it's not working?
you made an update?
We expect an update to send an email. So yep, that's a good attempt. Anyone else?
Email connector is currently restricted for maintenance.
Thank you so much for looking on the screen. That's exactly the answer. The mail connector is currently restricted. It says it here. We can all see it, right? The mail connector is currently restricted. We need to use, it also gives us alternatives. So what we are going to do at this point, open this up and say edit. So we just take our stuff in here so we don't lose it. And then the next thing, copy this, right? Yep. And then the next thing we do this, delete. Then now we're going to use the one they've recommended. So if you go into mail, not that one, because that one is the one which gave us an issue. Email, we're going to use the send mail Outlook, which is the one which was recommended in here. So we're gonna go for V2. And then let's see what happens here. Telling us to specify the email addresses in here. And we're going to paste our email addresses in here. And then in here, we said we're gonna put lead in the subject, lead unique identifier, and in here, hi team. I can type properly. Team, this lead.
Sorry, I think there's an error on the Gmail address.
Which one?
Almost 3.
This one here. Yep, was spotted. Thank you. Then
The last one is missing G.
paste. this one here. Where is it disappearing to? Let's put it in Notepad. Okay, I need this error message. So let's use it at the bottom. So this one here.
There is a G before the P at the last Gmail. After Samson.
After Samson here.
G before the P.
Is that right?
G for goat.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And then here, this is fine. Is that a space here? No, that's fine. And okay, that's fine. So we can take this. Is that a space? Yeah. Okay. Then copy this and drop it in here. And then thanks for spotting that, much appreciated. And then the lead has been updated. Please review and approve. And help with thanks. And then in this space here, you need to put an expression, lead. And so now let's save it. Then it's saying 2 is required. Yes, it's required. We have some information in there, invalid parameters. What's the invalid parameter? Okay, is it going to accept this? Okay, so if you see the difference here, it doesn't want us to put that semicolon here as much as it says add a semicolon. So we're gonna have to add them individually. This one comes here. And this comes here. Copy. Another person. Come out of it. Yep, that's how it wants it. It's telling us the semicolon is not ideal for our use case for this connector. Paste that. Be that. Okay, great. I think we should be in a better place now. Let's save it and see what happens. Okay, again, let's do our test. So if I select test here and then manually test it, and then we need to go to our lead. So this update now, we're going to remove what we put earlier because that also counts as an update. And we say save and we look at our flow. So let's see what we're going to get back here. So now it's successful. And in here, I can basically look at the inputs, exactly what was updated. And I can see this is the record which was updated. In here, I can go into the emails And I can see where the emails have gone to. And I can also show the raw outputs in here. So for our colleagues who share their email addresses, can any of you confirm if you received the email, please?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you able to take a screenshot and share the email you received in the chat window? So what we've done here is very basic. What you can do is you can also extend it by using the record URL. So the person basically clicks on the URL, it takes them to directly to the record itself. So if you don't mind sharing a screenshot in the chat window so people see exactly what you're getting out of it. So basically while we're waiting for that screenshot, if you look at the body of our raw contents here, it's also telling us about the marketing preferences for the lead. So if you can see here specifically, do not bulk email is set to false, which means we can email to them. Do not send messages is set to false, we can get to them. If it's set to true, the email will just fail anyway, it won't go anywhere. So that's what will happen in this case. If it's set to true, it will fail. So these are some of the use cases you can have. You can create this automation from your website. You can create this automation from basically wherever your organization is looking to capture leads. If you don't find the connector in here, you can also create your own. So when you create your own, it then becomes slightly a bit more clever. You can use something called Azure Logic Apps or Azure Function Apps. So basically, you can start using things like that. If you want to use a queuing system, I think for Deji remembers something called RabbitMQ, which is a messaging tool, which basically listens to messages and it does something after that. In this context, that's why you use Azure Service Bus, or there's also another one. There's an Azure Grid something.
I think there's also Kafka as well nowadays.
Yes, so you can use those things to kind of do any queuing you might need. Did anyone get any of the screenshot of what the person had received? Did anyone see it?
Yes, but I can't upload to the chat.
Okay. But is the are you able to share in the Telegram group with the team, so people can just kind of have a look and see exactly what it looks like when it gets to you, and then if there's any modification, you can always go back and make those changes. So that's basically what we can do with these things here. So of course, again, as we did earlier, we don't really want to leave this on, but again, at the same time, it keeps this history here. So you can always come back and see, okay, why did it fail? And of course, this one here, we know why it failed. And then we made an update. You can even try to resubmit it. It would then give us the same error. So if I say resubmit, and now it's saying it's sent successfully because the connector changed. That's why. The connector is now different. So that's why it's now running successfully, and we'll be able to see that run history in here. So that's one part you can use for this. You can also use this for holiday approvals. You can send this automation for course request. If someone says, okay, they want to do this course, from your mobile phone, you can basically say approve, and you can also say reject. So it just depending on the use case here. So for our developers, who will be interested to say, okay, you have kind of built these flows. Where are we going to see them? First, let me turn it off here. You can basically go to solutions from here too. The same way you do to make .powerapps.com, you can get to solutions from this area too. So this will just load up, and these are our solutions. So because we created this outside these solutions, it will sit in the default solution, which will be right at the bottom here. I'm just going to show you where those flows are. So if they are in the default solution, you can always move them from the default solution to your expected solution. So in here, we're looking at flows. So our cloud flows here, we have 15 of them. And then in here, we should be able to see those flows we created. Let's do a refresh. Okay, then I have to reopen it again. Default solution. And then cloud flows to have 15. It hasn't updated in here. So those flows, they should appear in here. So what you can also do, I think I know what I've got wrong here. So what I did, let me duplicate this so I don't have to come back to open default solutions. What I did is I went to create from this point here. What I should have done in this context was to come in here, open the solution, then create the flow at this point. That's basically what I should have done. Create our flow from this point here, but we created it from outside. So in here, this is our flow, cloud flow, custom connector, which I said you can create for yourself, desktop flow, process action, business process flow, or workflow. So that's where this is. We have a question in the chat window. So someone says one of the QA requested to look into this, that the super user 17 login details is asking for authentication. So when they ask for authentication, is anyone else able to log in with that account, or no one else is able to?
No one else.
No one has logged in with that account? Okay, let's have a look. So this screen here, users. And then blue sky. 17, this account here. So someone signed in with this account today at 9:41. So this is the log which tells me who's been logging in with it. So as we can see on this screen here, someone logged in with it today. And they're logging in from Nigeria. And the other person logged in with it from Bolton. Do we know anyone from these locations?
Yeah, it's been counting down for some days, like 2 days, 3 days to asking for a permission. So it tends to be.
So sorry, I missed that. Can you repeat that again?
Like for some days, it's been counting down some days, saying 9 days more, 8 days more, 7 days more for Let me get a screenshot.
If you can share a screenshot, yeah, that would be great.
All right.
Sorry, Dan, if you look at the status, it says interrupted. It was not successful.
Yeah, so in here we have a success. This one here at 9:41 today.
That was in the morning.
Yeah, so if someone is logged in with it, we need to understand what the error message is. If we just go and reset the password, we're not really fixing the issue. So we need to understand what's the error message is, then we can find the right solution to fix it.
It's asking for authentication.
It's asking for authentication. Okay,
Yes.
so I guess what it's asking for is MFA.
Yeah, I think it's
Listen, your organization needs more information to keep your account secure.
yeah, I think it will be that someone already set up the MFA. That would be the person that was successfully logged in, right?
Yeah, so the person who's done that is the one who's done that, yeah.
So we can remove the MFA, can't we?
Yep, we can remove the MFA. Let me just check it out here. I just need to figure out where that MFA setting is.
And I did that before, I think. Let me see. Let me.
So it's authentication methods here. Okay, here.
Okay,
Revoke multi-factor authentication sessions. Because, or I can basically require re-register multi-factor authentication, then people just have to ignore it. So if I revoke, I'm basically logging out the person who's logged in with it. If I require re-register, basically that means people just need to ignore it and not set it up. So at this point, yeah, so I've basically just reset it.
Yeah, but we need to revoke it, isn't it, so that it doesn't use. I thought you would go to kind of the Azure Active Directory and
yeah. So this is where we are.
Where is that?
This is Azure Active Directory.
Okay, so because what I did last time was to reset, click on the password reset and register. Then there's a checkbox to say no to prompt on registration. Yeah. So reset password, then
that's done.
Okay. No, I don't think it's a reset of the password, actually. I think you will actually click on reset password, click on registration. Yeah, click on registration. Click on reset password again. Let's see.
Yep, it will do the same step here.
Oh, okay. On my profile, I was able to kind of.
So I think because we have reset it to say require re-register multi-factor authentication, let's just clear the logged in session for the person who was using it, and then reset the password. And then this password here, should I just put it in the chat window? Is that okay?
Yeah, maybe later if you send it to Pat, that would be better.
Okay, let me do that now, because later I need to dash off to. Okay. So 9. Yeah.
So check if the security default is set off as well. I think that also could.
Where?
So if you go back to Azure,
Yep.
Active Directory, then properties, right? Yeah, Active Directory, Azure, yeah. Properties, I think down.
Properties.
Yeah, and security default, where's that? Security. Yeah, see that one at the bottom, right? Yeah. Yeah, so I think what I did was to set it to no, yeah. So yeah, security, yeah, I think you've kind of disabled it. I think that's it. What is the security default at the top?
It's either enabled, active, or disabled.
I think yeah, disabled with that. I think that's it. Yeah. Yeah, I think that this should be, yeah. So what URL is this one?
Which one?
Is it for everything? Is it for all the environments, right?
It's all for the accounts, yeah.
Okay, so okay, that's fine. Then we can try on anyone and see. Can someone please try to see you are not getting two-factor authentication again? Can someone try, please?
So what's the password?
Okay. Where did you send it? Did you send the password to
Pat, yeah.
Pat
In
or to
the
the
group,
Dynamics?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I'll share that with you guys now. Maybe you can share it, yeah, actually. Okay, I've sent to you on Telegram, so try to use that. Oh, okay. Don't worry. I think because he would. Oh, okay. Alex, with this password, you have to reset the password, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and we have to do that ourselves then. Okay. All right. Don't worry. We'll look into it anyway. So, Mary, I'll send to you, Mary. Are you there? Mary.
1 hour. What about you?
Yeah, no, we're almost finished. Don't worry. Just give it another 35 minutes.
Okay. I think we'll look into it later. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So we're going to move on now. So we did speak earlier when we created our leads with our automation. And then what happened is we end up creating a duplicate record here. Ideally, we need to avoid having this. So if you remember, in our intro session, we also spoke about how we stop these things happening. So you can set something up called duplicate detection. So with the duplicate detection, it captures any duplicate records depending on the definition. And this duplicate detection, they are set per table. So you say on this table, this is my definition of a duplicate detection. So the homework I'm going to share with you, this is homework for the session next Thursday. It's not the session for tomorrow we're done. So tomorrow we're done, the homework you have to bring back is for the business unit stuff. What we are going to do at this point is I'm going to show you exactly where you created these things from. So as part of your homework, what I'm going to ask you to do, please, is to look into this area here, which is admin.powerplatform.microsoft.com. Once you get into the environment, kindly select settings. And then once you get in here, we're looking for duplicate detection rules, not jobs, not settings, duplicate detection rules. So as part of your homework, you're going to get into this area here. Why isn't closing? Close all windows. Just kill that process. Is this one here and task. Yep, it's gone. Yep, that's here. So as part of your homework, for those of you working with accounts, your homework is to go into this area here, look at the duplicate detection rules, which are already published for accounts. For those of you working with opportunities, you're not going to look at the opportunity duplicate detection rules because they don't exist. So your homework will be to create one. For those working with the contact table, your homework will be to look at the duplicate detection rules in here. We have a total of 3 of them targeting the contact table. And your homework is to understand what they are doing. And additionally, can you please create one additional one too, targeting the contact table? For those of you working with leads, again, your homework is the same. Have a look what this lead duplicate detection rule is doing, and then create one for yourself. Once you look at what this one is doing, on our next session, we're going to open one from each team. Kindly ask someone to lead from your team to kind of share their findings, what you find out, and also to demonstrate the duplicate detection rule you have created. We are not going to demonstrate with the ones which already exist. We are going to demonstrate with your created ones. So what we'll then do at that point, we'll basically get rid of these ones in here and rely from what you've done from your homework. From the account team, I did mention to look what these are, but you also have the same item to also create one and also test it. How you test it, you can work with your QA colleagues, or you can do it as a group in your current teams. How you test it, you come to the front end of the system, you go to your target table, and you test it and see if it's working. So for those of you working with leads, understand this here doesn't exist. We are using Omega lead table. So our lead duplicate detection rule is based on Omega lead table. So that would be our base table here. I haven't finished. with the homework. There's a bit more. The next thing to do here before we go further, does anyone has any questions from the expectation from the homework here?
Hi, Alex, it's Pat here.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Yes. I was just trying to put the homework together in a sort of text. Would you be able to put that on the note in a notepad, and I can update it and send it to each of the groups?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'll do that after the class. I'll share that with you in a written format.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. So, anyone else? Did someone want to say something?
Yes, I just wanted to mention that you did mention for the squad working on accounts, contacts and leads, but you've not mentioned for those working on case.
Great. So for those not working on case, I do apologize. For those working on case, feel free to choose one of these duplicate detection rules. Look what they're doing. Just one, just pick one of them. And from that, you're going to tell us what you found out. And then after that, can you also create a duplicate detection rule, which is targeting the case table? Yeah?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, perfect. The second part of the homework, this is not to make it difficult for you. This you might find this difficult because we haven't done anything with it. But from what we have done today's class with Power Automate, your homework will be to create an automation. This automation will be based on a record or a row being created in Dynamics 365. So this row will be based on the team you work on. If you work in the team working on accounts, the table you're targeting is the account. If you are in contact, it's contact. If you are lead, it's lead. If it's opportunity, it's opportunity. If it's case, it's case. This automation, what we are expecting it to do is to send an email, and not just send an email, we also want it to go back to Dynamics to say this action has happened. So basically we want it to post on the timeline of the record in Dynamics. So we're adding an additional step. Once you have done that, we're going to come and kind of have a look at what you've done. So the plan is to spend the first 20-25 minutes just to see what you've done, what challenges you've come across, and how you have gone past those challenges. So I'll put this in writing so you can all kind of put your heads together and then kind of work onto it. So that's those two items from the homework side of things. Going back to Dynamics 365, we're going to go back into our settings in here. So what we're also looking to do in our next session is to look at how we can import data into this system. So for example, we have our data in Excel spreadsheets. We have our data in Notepad. We have our data in a Word document. How do we get this data into Dynamics without having to manually type it in? So we're going to look at imports. So what you can see in here, you also have imports here. So what you do when you do imports, so this is just an indication of some of the things we're going to be doing next week. It's this area here. So we just get this to load. Okay, great. So basically, once we start importing our data, it will appear here. So we basically have a status for exactly how it's going. But before we do that import, we need to get a data import. So Dynamics has its own dedicated data import. So there is an option which tells us data for import template. Let me see where that is sitting. It's sitting in here. Data import templates. If I click in here, it will list you all the tables which exist in Dynamics 365. So for example, if we select account, we've spoken a lot about our leads today. Actually, let's go for one which we recently created, Omega lead table. And if we say download, so it will then open, it will tell us what data it's expecting. And what you can see in here, there is a hidden column here. Let me see if I can expose it. Yeah, there it is. So if you see these columns here, when it says do not modify, yes, as it says, please do not modify them. Basically what those columns have, they have unique IDs hidden underneath them. So when you do the import, it does some mapping in Dynamics. So basically you can put all your data in here. So these are the fields we have in Dynamics. The owner is important. If the owner does not exist in Dynamics, it will fail. So you need to make sure the name of the owner is exactly the way it's displayed in Dynamics. And if you see in here, it's also telling you the values it's expecting. If you click into here, it's also telling you how many characters it's expecting. This is how we have defined it in Dynamics. We have said it takes 100 characters. If it's more than that, it basically takes the first 100 and gets rid of the next. So this is something we're going to be doing on the next session. The other thing as well we're going to be looking at, just to prepare you as well for the next session, is to look at this area here. So we are going to look at number one, an application user. So we spoke about a service account. There's also something called an application user. We're going to talk exactly what is the use case for this user, how we can create this user. So I will then show you how we create this user and start seeing how it will work. So do we have any questions from anyone from what we have discussed tonight, or any questions on things you might have been reading online and maybe you say, okay, yeah, let me go and ask the question. Any questions from anyone? Is everything clear? Any concerns from anyone? Is everything clear to you? Do you have any questions? You might think, okay, can you elaborate a bit more on this thing? Are you guys still here?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I was getting worried. I thought I said something wrong that everyone's just saying, let's go quiet. Yeah, okay. So if there's no further questions, please remember what we mean when we say a row. Please remember what we mean when we say a column, and also the differences between these tables we're discussing. So if we're saying a contact, we're saying a lead, we're saying an opportunity, let's try to also understand what is the use case for these tables. That is the key thing from your point of view when you go to an interview. Not when you start digging in to do the work, when you go to an interview. If you come across to be very confident, you understand exactly what you're saying from a foundational point of view, the job tends to be yours. You'll get the job, that's for sure. So please, by all means, let's try to remember these things. From the things we have shared on the session tonight, for those of you, if you have 30 minutes away from the school, just go online and start researching what was this guy Alex talking about when you're showing us these things, and try to visualize it. And if you have any questions from it, try to write something down for the next session. Just say, okay, yeah, from what we done on the last session, I want to look at this. What does it mean? That's the best way you will get this. So, yep. On that note, if there's no further questions, thank you so much, everyone. And we'll speak tomorrow. Tomorrow, I will be also on the session tomorrow evening.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Yeah,
everyone.
thank you,
And
Alex.
have a good evening.
Thank you, Alex.